With just one day to go, the answer seems to be, well, sort of. All 12 stadiums have been handed over to FIFA, but that doesn't mean the construction was actually completed. In Sao Paulo, where Brazil will kick off against Croatia on Thursday, it's staggering how much work is left. VIP boxes and spectator stands yet to be tested. The race against the clock to finish venues reminiscent of the Sochi Winter Olympics. One bit of good news, Jennifer Lopez will perform the World Cup's official song at Thursday's opening ceremony. After withdrawing, her rep says the show is back on. And she'll join pop star Pitbull and Brazilian star Cláudia Leite in Brazil. Brazil has pumped $11 billion into the World Cup, a controversial figure in a country where the gap between the rich and poor is huge, prompting massive street protests. The safety of spectators and athletes is a major concern. Brazil plans to deploy 157,000 police and troops to patrol host cities.
Brazil has conducted a very well-planned operation to secure 12 cities.
And as soon as it's over, Rio will have to do it all over again as it prepares to host the 2016 Olympic Games. Shasta Darlington, CNN, Sao Paulo.
And World Sports' Don Riddell joins me right now here in the studio. Okay, let's get this into some perspective, because you know it, I know it, we've all covered it. Before all of these big sporting events, be it the Olympics, the World Cup, whatever, people complain, there are always problems. It's always right on the night, it seems. Is that the case here, or are there going to be some really serious problems coming up at this World Cup? Is this different this time?
Well, it could be different this time. I mean, you talk about other events like the Olympics. You've got to remember that those events are hosted by one city. We're talking about a whole country here. And one of the big concerns is whether or not Brazil can actually, whether or not its infrastructure can cope with the challenge of moving tens of thousands of people all around the country every couple of days. And that could be a real issue. We know that some of the cities like Sao Paulo have massive infrastructure problems. Traffic jams are just a part of everyday life. Can the airport network cope? That remains to be seen. And of course, let's not underestimate the real sense of anger and frustration felt by many Brazilians about the sheer amount of money that's been spent, or they would argue wasted on this tournament. Sure. And I think we can expect to see protests and demonstrations throughout the tournament.
Just very quickly, have you seen this much criticism in the build-up to a World Cup ever before? This much unhappiness?
Maybe not recently,
sure.
But if you're talking about the actual resentment on the ground from the people who live there, no, okay. I think this is unprecedented.
Okay. The other big headline, Sepp Blatter, he's seeking that fifth term as president. He's copying a lot of opposition for this, and he's now pushing back quite strongly. What's going on here?
It's been an extraordinary couple of days when you think that many football fans are really excited about the World Cup, and the media coverage has really been about Sepp Blatter, the allegations of corruption about the bidding for 2018 and 2022. Some of the things Sepp Blatter has said in the last few days have provoked more outrage and anger, particularly from the European football delegates, but he's proven that nothing will stop him. It does seem almost certain that he's going to run again, and he may well run without much of a challenge. So, but you know, FIFA and Sepp Blatter's critics are becoming more and more vocal.
He's looking more and more like Juan Antonio Samaranch in his final days at the IOC, but I guess we'll see about that one. Finally, I guess the big question, you know, the kickoff's just a few hours away. Will we actually see some good football this time?
Well, I hope so. You know, I would say that if you look at the last few major football tournaments, the European Championships always tends to be more entertaining, or at least the games seem to be better because the teams going are better. There's 32 teams at the World Cup. They're not always that good, but I think this time could be different. 19 of the top 20 teams in the world are at this competition. You've got all the previous winners there. It's being hosted by the most successful team and arguably the most fanatical football country in the world, and there's a very good chance that Brazil could go all the way and win it, which always makes for a great atmosphere and a great tournament. You've got some amazing games in the first round. I do think the standard could be very high.
Excellent. And you will have a lot more on the World Cup coming up at the bottom of the hour here on CNN, on World Sport. And of course, in the meantime, you can always go to our website, keep a track on everything that's happening at the tournament. We have a special page there that is cnn.com/